booties for black girl nerds.
Hi, Courtney. How are you today? You look amazing as usual.
You look amazing. The yellow. Thank you for the sunshine.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your depiction of C.L. Franklin, it was mesmerizing. It was so layered. And I really enjoy what you brought in your performance. And it made me think about him and his flaws and the good things that he did. For all his flaws, he still brought us one of the world's greatest gifts to music. What do you think his best qualities were?
I think, the fact that his endurance and his perseverance in the face of all the obstacles that, he came from nothing. His stepfather was a sharecropper, and somehow he found preaching. And so he was torn between preaching. There were no cars for that family. They couldn't drive. He couldn't drive or be called an Uber to get to the church and then get back, take Uber back to get back to be there at 5:30, 4:30 in the morning to start the chores. So he had to run. And eventually his stepfather realized, you got to choose, boy. You got to choose between the pulpit and the plow. You got to choose. And he gave him that ultimatum. And he chose the pulpit, and his father kicked him out of the house at that point. And he had to swim. That to me is, has always been, our generation, the generation of today. You tell them no one time and they're done. He said, I told you no to see what you were going to do. Fight me, go for it, do something. Tell me why you got to do, so it's, the idea that he came from nothing and became who he became. Now, was there parts of his body, the part of him that needed to be recovered, that he was harmed as a young man because of what he saw, because of all people who came up from the Great Migration. They saw things that there was like a war zone, that they felt that you tell somebody who's been in war. Now tell me what happened in that battle. And they said, no, I ain't talking about it. I want to talk about it. And I think it's that kind of thing that people of that generation, that would be our grandfathers and grandmothers, would be, they wouldn't want to talk about it. Right. So consequently, the children had to deal with it, and his children dealt with, and his wife dealt with his mess, and consequently the congregation had to deal with his mess. But we came from a people who overcame stuff, who realized that we weren't perfect, and that pastor wasn't perfect, and we forgave him, even though he was messy, but they recognize that the world is messier, and we're not going to take down our pastor over some mess. We're going to talk to him and realize make him realize that that's wrong. Don't do that again. But we're not going to take our pastor down. Something got to be really, 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 really bad.
Right. So. I wanted to be, real cognizant of that, because so many times we focus on, the misdeeds and forget the overall good. And he did do some things. He was committed to his family and all of those things that people will learn about him throughout the course of the series. With this series, this is older than you, this generation, but some knowledge you will have of Aretha Franklin and her career and being a fan of her music. What would you, for you as an actor, is it more difficult for you to step into embodying an actual living, breathing person, or a character that is totally fictional in terms of process? Is it easier or more difficult for you?
It doesn't. I think there's more pressure, I think, from the person that we all know, because people all know him or her. Mm-hmm. There's still the same internal pressure for myself to do what I'm trying to do well, to the best of my ability, and to get that, that kernel right. There's still my pressure, my internal pressure, but there's more, I think, external pressure when you all know who the man is or the woman is. And so that I've gotten it right or wrong, or I'm in the right pocket. And if I'm in the wrong pocket, then I'll hear about it. If it's a fictional character, y'all don't really know him. And so you'd be like, you was doing it, Court. You was in there. Right. Who was that? Y'all, man, that was just, oh, I'm going to read up on him. But you was in it. But if they know him or her, they'll be able to say, nah, Court, that wasn't it. Nah, don't do that again, Court. You would, so we don't want that to happen. So we put even more pressure on ourselves to get, to be able to hit the right notes with that particular character.
Well, for me in particular, your portrayal made me seek out additional information. So I knew of her father and what he did, but I didn't know to the depth. So I think in that regard, for me, I enjoyed it tremendously. Mm-hmm. And lastly, just a real quick question. What's the big difference for you between embodying someone and imitating someone? Because you breathe so much life into your roles and it never feels like a caricature, to say.
Yeah, that is, I think that has to do with your commitment to, it's not just a job for me and for actors like, me. We trained for this, and so I really am, and I was trained on the stage, so I'm trained to actually go and be able to set something up so that I can do it for 8 times a week and do the show. I did 6 Degrees on Broadway for 1.5 years. I did Fences on Broadway for on and off for 3.5 years. So the framework, you put the framework underneath you as foundation, so that would allow you to be able to do it, over time. So that's how, folks who are trained, and some folks who are not, it depends on who you are. The commitment to your work is about being able to say, that's that person, I did it. And as opposed to, I'm gonna try to do my best. If I get it, great. No, it's important that every person who comes in there gets the same good performance. So that's what, we're trained to do, to be able to get ourselves to the place where we're doing the best for the character, serving the character to the best of our ability.
Absolutely. Thank you, Courtney. A pleasure as always. Marvelous performance. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.